Come on, let's see if we can get Tony to come out and play. Come out and play. Yay. Where are you at, Gusto? Fuck you, uncircumcised. Where y'all at? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Pucky. Pucky, you come to visit. Come to say hey to everybody. Oh, Pucky's come to say hello. He loves the camera. Oh, Pucky. Give me a kiss. Oh, my man. My main man. And the pup. Pucky, Pucky, Pucky. Sweetest dog in the world. Pucky. Pucky. My buddy. He's right out of Weasel and P2. So that makes Weasel was the last 50% Bolero dog. Bolero was never bred back to any of her children, so you couldn't get her tighter than 50%. So he was the last 50% Bolero dog that there was. And he was bred to P2, who was out of Clarence. And Clarence was right out of Norm and Spetty. And bred Clarence to Baby, which Baby was primarily a Clemens dog. So it's, if you look at him, he's like 3/4 of my stuff and 1/4 of the Clemens blood. Maybe just a little bit more Clemens than that. Maybe like 2/3 my stuff and 1/3 Clemens. And, I've been using since the early 90s. For many years, I would use the local blood. I'd take my Bolero blood and stack it up, line breed it. Then I'd find an Eli dog around here that didn't have any of my blood in it. And to me, it's outcrossing. I know you'd say it's line breeding or whatever, but I'd breed to an Eli dog that had no Bolero in it. So I'm breeding Eli Bolero. And when I would make that breeding, it was real productive. Chinaman to Bolero was really good. Frisco to Bolero, it was good. It wasn't as good as Chinaman to Bolero. Bandit to Bolero was excellent breeding, produced Two Eyes, which was, the gamest dog I ever owned. And of course, from Frisco to Bolero came Ripper, who is one of the best producing dogs I ever owned. Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? And, when we bred Ripper to Maverick, that was the first time really any of these Carolina dogs have been bred to the Maverick dog. And of course, that started a whole trend, didn't it? What you up to, Chris? But what happened was, Lee, what's going on, man? Well, when you ask me about like Pitt Island stuff, I knew him back in the day, and he was always a first class guy. And oh yeah, I shipped it out to you, man. It's gone. It's gone. Aren't you in? I don't want to say where you're at, but yeah, I shipped it to you. You got it, the jump drive. You got the new jump drive too, with all the goodies on it. Nice, man. Good working man. Get out there and get it. The connection will be a lot better starting Wednesday. This one will probably lock up and kick us off any minute. It's usually how it works. Once we start talking and having a good time, damn thing dies on us. So, but anyhow, I knew Pitt Island back in the 1900s, and he was always a first-class operation. As a matter of fact, through a turn of events, he had ended up with my granny dog. and was nice enough to let me get her back from him. She had been stolen from me, and he had just ended up with her. The dog thieves had sold him the dog, and he didn't know that she was stolen. And he let me get the dog back. So good guy, real good guy. Sure was glad to get that dog back too. Man, you ain't kidding. But yeah, so but I don't know anything about Pit Island dogs today, man. I couldn't pick one out of a crowd. So I don't even know what they're breeding. And I hadn't talked to that guy in 20 something years, man. Uh, I didn't even know I mean, I see the pedigrees and stuff, but I didn't know if that was him or somebody else or what. They primarily red boy dogs, aren't they? Isn't that what they're primarily bred down from? Well, so I was talking about crossing with the Eli stuff, and I crossed with all the local stud dogs until the early 90s when basically I got tired of the local breeders taking credit for my breedings. I mean, I was taking my dogs off my yard and going and breeding to the local breeders' dogs and paying the stud fee and making my own breedings. And the local breeder would go ahead and take credit for it. And, when the results came around, oh, they were off of my stud dog. Well, hell, I could have bred to any Eli dog. I was just breeding to the dog that was geographically the closest, that was a quality animal. I mean, I even bred a panther at one time. So, I had a lot of great dogs that were close to me. But in the early 90s, I said, hell with it. I'm just going to get my own Eli line of dogs. And so I went down to see Jerry Clemens, and I got my own Eli line of dogs in the early 90s. And so now, since around 92, 93, we've made all our own Eli crosses in-house and do it through the stuff we got from Clemens. And that's what Little Pucky is a result of. And it's really nice because it breeds so true. I really, 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 really like the dogs from Jerry Clemens. Yeah, Jeep Red Boy Rascal dogs. So that's another bloodline that's easily identifiable, and I can look at a Red Boy dog. Hey, Greg, it's working, man. I don't know why. It'll probably crash any minute. But hey, Greg, I found a local internet provider around here. It's a local Wi-Fi provider called Shentel, and they're going to come put Wi-Fi in Wednesday. And it's just some local group. It's not a big company, but they've got a tower out here I found out about. And it'll be better than what I've got. It won't be Starlink, but it'll work. What was my hardest match? Oh, I'd have to say Bronson versus Header. Back in 1987, I handled and conditioned a dog for Calvin Lanier named Fergie's Champion Bronson. And it went 3 hours and 9 minutes, no turns, no out of holds. And they offered me a scratch to win at 309. And Bronson did it. I mean, he went like a rocket. Pew! That was a really, really, really tough show. There were 19 matches that day. It was on the Delaware Shore at a professional baseball player's house. And there were 19 matches that day, and Bronson won best and gamest in show. He took both trophies. But yeah, I'd say that was the toughest for him. What do I think of? Yeah, I don't know him. I knew Bert. I knew Bert, and I knew Tatatarmka when they were with Bert. I seen last time I seen Joni was with Bert, and we were Ken Allen and Bob Boyd and the sheriff and all that bunch, man, down in Picayune, Mississippi, around 1991 was the last time I saw um, Joni Sorrells and Bert Sorrells and that bunch. I don't know them. I appreciate it, Greg. I appreciate it. I mean, as long as we can keep Tony Montagna off of here. He was pretty hard on me today, man. He came on here, was beating me up about the forward on my tiny book. And he just, he was pretty mean to me, man. I was hoping he was going to come back, but I guess he couldn't make it back. He probably, I'm not going to say nothing. I let him slide. I need to show temper and be an old man and be kind to the retarded and those people. The dog game's full of people like that. That think they can talk to me like that. I don't have to listen to this shit. What would I say about STP? Well, I'm not really into NHRA, but like if somebody wanted to take me to some NHRA races, I go. I mean, if they had drag strip races, like we've got I don't live that far from Charlotte, and they run them 4 wide down there, and I'd love to go see that. I mean, STP, man, they were top of the line during their time. That's what I could say good about them. They had a great eye. They knew a bulldog when they saw it. They didn't travel except one time when they went into Sandman, but they didn't travel. You couldn't get them to travel. But if you wanted to fight for $500 in New Jersey back in the 1900s, that was your guy. So, they're dear friends with Jack Kelly, and they're a class act. Uh, nice people. Nice people. A little fucked up in the head. Nice people. Oh yeah, yeah. I love NASCAR now. I just got back from racing all weekend. So we had modifieds on Thursday night, Xfinity on Friday night, but we only got about 80 laps of the Xfinity race. Then we had Cup racing on Saturday night, but again, same thing. Didn't get many laps in. And then Saturday we had double header with the Xfinity race and the Cup race. Well, Andy Cap didn't get bred that much. I mean, when they bred into that tippy bitch, he produced really good. That he I think I put a dog up out of that. He produced that. I mean, that was a good breeding. The guy that owned him, a guy named Randall, that owned the dog, was an odd fellow. He was in the Navy, and he didn't let anybody really breed to the dog. He kept the dog undercover and kept the dog moved around. And even though he offered him at stud, he still made it really difficult to breed to the dog. I mean, look him up online. How many times to get bred? So, you know, the couple times he got bred to compatible bitches, he produced fairly well. But, you know, and then a lot of times when a dog like that gets bred, everybody sits on the puppies. And then, it just disappears into the mist, man. Happens with a lot of dogs. You know, but you didn't really have anybody behind the handicap stuff. You didn't really have a man behind those dogs that was breeding them and keeping them. Randall wasn't messing with them, and then the guy that had Comanche that was big into them. I think he got jammed up, and so all that went south, and it just really seemed like the handicap blood was just fail after fail. Well, there's less of them, you know. What do I think is different from Dogman from my time, Dogman your time? Well, there's less of them, and you know, it's like I put in my book. I've changed a lot. I mean, you know, I'll never match a dog again. Um, it's not the fighting part that bothers me. When I look back on all of it, it's the after the fighting part. Your dog's sitting there all banged up and tore up, and I did that. Me, I did that to my dog to prove what, man? You know, like to prove something to myself, to prove something to you, motherfuckers. I mean, I don't know. So to bring myself to the point that I got to take one of my dogs from my bloodline that I've done so much with for so long and say, look, I got to prove something to you or to me or to God above. I say, fuck you. Man, I'm not hurting my dog. I'm not sitting there looking at my dog all chewed up and little old dog looking up at me with them eyes going, hey, man, what happened? I thought we were pals, you know? And maybe it's just because I'm an old fart now. But, you know, and I think that's the difference in the dog man of old and the dog man of new is the old dog man had heart, man. I mean, you look at people like Leo Kennard, one of the murderingest, meanest motherfuckers in the dog game history. I can tell you stories about that guy and his lack of respect of human life that would curl your toes. But do you know he wouldn't shoot a cur? That every dog that ever stopped at his place was kept and fed until they died of old age. And it just seems like the people today don't have any heart, man. It's just like the dogs are like a video game or an accessory or, something like that. And, even when I was a hardcore dog fighter, I still cared about my animals and I still loved them. Even the curs, even the curs. So I would say that's the difference between dogmen today and dogmen of the past. Yeah, man. I just don't. I can't. Like I said in the book, man. It's to do something like that and know what the fuck you're doing today in 2021 and have knowledge of what you're doing. Somebody like me that knows what they're doing and you do that and you do that on purpose, something's fucking wrong with you, man. I mean, how many times you gotta do something I mean, before you know what the truth is. I don't have to do that. And I suggest that you don't do that. And your dog ain't got to prove shit to you. You think that changes the genetics of your animal? Do you like your dog less? You know? I mean, I like my dog just because it's my dog. I don't give a shit what that dog can do. I love it. I love it because it's my dog, man. I just love it because it's a dog. And it happens to be a pit bull, and it happens to have a cool pedigree, and it happens to be out of all my bloodline and all that stuff. But you know, that's how I feel about all that. Anyhow, well, some curs probably produced better. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, think about some famous curs that produced: Finley's Bow, Walling's Bully Son. There's two. There you go, Greg. That's right. Yeah, you gotta have some heart, man. I mean, if you breed a dog and you raised it, you gotta feed it. You'll find a home for it. My favorite place to put them is with old dog men that don't have any dogs anymore. They just got kids, and I'd like to fix them up with that one dog. That's my favorite thing to do. Because you talk about a dog, you get spoiled. You get spoiled rotten. You know. But it's hard to line those kind of homes up. It's always tough. But no place better for the dog than laying on the couch eating Cheetos, baby. Just like me. Eating them Cheetos. Getting them orange fingers. Did it freeze up? Or is it still working? Might have froze up. Does it freeze up, Greg? No, it's working. I love these dogs. I love my dogs. I do believe that sticking by the script as far as breeding good hunting dogs to good hunting dogs is how you keep the stock true hunting dogs and not Amstaffs. Oh, I agree with you, man. And there's a place for that, and it just ain't here. You know, I feel that the true American Pit Bull Terrier has been extinct for a long time. I know you guys are trying. I know everybody's out there trying, but when you know what I wrote in the book, I just don't think that the dog's out there anymore. You know, I think what you're looking at is a facsimile. You know, you want to see a real pit bull? I don't know, man. It's just a tough thing. It's a tough thing, because is the competition there? Is the environment there? Is is everything there that made the original pit bull? And if it's not, then you got a different breed of dog. You've got something else. Because the pit bull was made under these conditions. And now this dog that you've got are under these conditions. And so that would be a different dog. That would be like the difference between a bloodhound and a Labrador. What do I think about James Crenshaw? Well, I put up a video about what I thought about his abilities. As far as a man, I mean, he was a good guy. I hate that he passed away from leukemia. taken away way too early. Um, I think he was a benefit to the breed. I think he produced a bloodline of identifiable dogs that you could look at them and tell what they were and where they came from. And then he bred a good line of dogs. Um, he was a nice person, and you know, just we didn't get along, but that was my fault. I pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and I never tried to be friends with him. What do I think about Grand Champion Virgil? Which one, Ozzie Stevens or Gambler's Virgil? I don't know Golden King Kennels. I never heard of them. I guess I could Google them, but I never heard of Golden King Kennels.